Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, it's a whole new experience in the fact that we are setting up my first Caridina shrimp tank. I'm going with crystal red shrimp tank, and I'm buying them from Flip Aquatics. So some of you guys saw my previous videos, I was asking you guys where I should buy them from. I've been looking around. Flip Aquatics is who I'm going with. They do overnight shipping. You know, something that I really want to do if I'm investing $150 to $200 in shrimp. And so today we're setting up a first 10-gallon Caridina shrimp tank. We got the substrate here. We're going fluval stratum. We've got the minerals that we need. We got a sponge filter. I'm gonna be buying some moss, so I'm definitely gonna finish this video off once I introduce the shrimp into the tank and show you guys everything. Guys, this is my first time setting this tank up. It might not be the best setup. It's definitely going to be a very low budget setup, if you can say that, for a Caridina shrimp tank. But I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible. I've done extensive research on this, and the more I see and read on it, I'm really intrigued by it, and I love the challenge of keeping Caridina shrimp. I'm actually kind of scared that once I do this, I'm gonna fall in love with it and want more Caridina shrimp tanks. And so if you guys are here right now, you guys are probably curious how this is gonna turn out, and so am I. I've never done this, and so without further ado, I'm gonna get right to it. I'm gonna explain some of the things that I'm doing with you guys over the weekend. Today's Friday, so over the weekend I'm gonna be setting up this tank, making sure that it's established, making sure that the TDS is right. I'm gonna be checking the tank. I want to make sure that everything is right on before I introduce or even order shrimps. And so we're going to do things right on this one. And so hopefully this helps some of you guys out there that are trying to set up your first Caridina shrimp tanks. Without further ado, I'm going to get right to it. Okay guys, so the first thing we're going to do is introduce the substrate into the tank. We're going for about an inch or so we'll see how that turns out. Okay guys, so we got the substrate in there, and I feel like that's a decent amount of substrate. It's about an inch or so. It goes right up to the top of this plastic thing here on this 10-gallon tank. Next thing we're gonna do is add this sponge filter. I'm gonna show you guys a little trick that I do. Let's see if I can focus this camera. There we go. So what I like to do is put an air stone inside this sponge filters. And it does nothing, guys. If you guys don't have a sponge filter, I mean an air stone to put inside the sponge filter, it makes no difference. The only difference that it does make is that it creates smaller bubbles. And so what I like to do, open this up, I cut these rings inside here, which I probably should have waited to show you guys. Just cut the rings inside here with some scissors, and that way when you do this, you can slide this in here, and it should technically be able to go all the way down. You put this back in here. So now if you do this, you can take it out, run your air line through one of these holes all the way down into the air stone. When you put it in there, the only thing that it will do is create smaller bubbles. It makes no difference as far as filtration. It's just more of an aesthetic thing. I like to look at smaller bubbles rather than big bubbles. And so next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this up and show you guys how it looks. Okay, so once you've done this, this is what it should look like. Your air line will run right through it, right through this here, with an air stone inside of this. Like I said, it makes no difference, guys. Smaller bubbles is all it does. This is what it looks like. And it goes in the tank. Okay guys, so the next step is obviously to add the water in the tank. I'm gonna add this bin inside of it. I want to make sure that the water hits this before it hits the soil, just so it doesn't make a complete mess. I'm sure there will be some residue just floating all over the place and whatnot, but you want to try to keep it as clean as possible. So we're gonna use that for now. And of course, this process is gonna take me a little bit longer. I don't have an RO system yet, but for now I'm using distilled water, which I know is just as good right now. And so I'll show you guys the next process. Okay guys, so the water's in the tank. Obviously that process took a lot longer than it looks like here on video, especially since I'm doing it, you know, 1 cup at a time. But it's something that I'm doing that now. I have no better way of doing it, and just to show you guys that it can be done. You know, it's a little time consuming and whatnot, but it is. Of course, we got the filter running now. Guys, I have the lights off. Let me turn them back on. Next step. Okay, so look, before that, I'm gonna show you guys. We are going to check the TDS on this, which is total dissolved solids. Here we go. For somehow my phone just focused extremely good. So total dissolved solids, preferably these shrimp should be kept around, if I'm not mistaken, 120 to 150, something like that. Preferably 150 as far as I know with Mark's shrimp tanks. Mark does water changes at 150, so we're gonna aim for about 130. So that's where this comes in. Right now the TDS should be almost 0 on that. There should be nothing in there. There's nothing. It's a brand new tank. So I'm doing this and explaining this for you guys. I know these things. I've done the research. I've never done it, but I know what the process is. But anyway, that's where this comes in, guys. B shrimp mineral GH. This will establish your tank. It says right here, 1 full scoop for 20 liters. 20 liters, guys, is about 5.3 US gallons. You know, a lot of my audience is based on the US. So 1 scoop is for 5.3 gallons. So obviously I'm not gonna do 2 scoops here. We'd be way over TDS of 150, I believe. So I'm gonna do about a 1 1/4 and then go off of that. But before that, I'm gonna show you guys what the TDS is like right now, and then we'll go from there. So this TDS meter, guys, I got it off of Amazon. You turn it on and just dip it in there. So you guys can't see right now, but luckily I can bring you guys with me. TDS is at 5. So it's close to 0. It's probably as good as it gets without actually having RO water. Remember, this is distilled water I'm using. I literally went to the supermarket and bought 10 gallons of distilled water. It's pricey, so if I end up doing this, I'll eventually will invest into an RO system. Guys, the next step, we're gonna add some of this. I'm gonna start off with 1 scoop, 1 full scoop, and then we'll go from there. This comes in powder form. Let's do 1 scoop. And then we'll just keep checking and adding. I'm aiming for 130, 135, guys. So we're gonna leave that there. I'm gonna let that sit for about 10 minutes, guys. I'll come back and check this, and I'll show you guys what the TDS is reading at after 10 minutes. All right, so it's been a few minutes now. We're gonna check again, see where we're at as far as TDS. All right, guys, so 73 with the full scoop. It's varying right now. So that means we're gonna do about 3/4 of a scoop more and then see what that's like in a few minutes. Remember, we're going for 130, 135. That's what we're going for. Okay, so after that first scoop, I just started adding a little bit more at a time. And this is where we're at now. We're exactly at 133 or so. I think that's perfect for now. I'm gonna leave it at that. Let's move it around 134. It's as near as 135 as it's gonna be, I think. Next step, guys, we're gonna add some bacteria. Let's see if we can get this. I am actually gonna go with the recommended dosage, which is for a new system, 4 ounces per 10 gallons. I'm actually gonna go with that. Remember, I normally add double just to cycle it like quick, but I'm not trying to cycle it fast. So what I'm gonna do, I'm actually just gonna do 4 ounces. I'm gonna keep checking it over the weekend. Remember, the shrimp are probably gonna be ordered over the weekend, as long as this tank is set up right, TDS is right. I've got a lot more tests that I need to run on this, make sure that everything's right before I order the shrimp. So the next thing I'm gonna do for today is do this. That will probably be the last thing on this portion of the video. Of course, there's a lot more to this video. This is probably gonna be one of the longest videos I've ever done, but there's just so much to cover. So I'm gonna show you guys this. So I got this cup as a gift a few years back. It's to make cocktails and whatnot, but it's the closest thing I've had, and I've always used this for fish in general, which is what I use. Guys, this is Fritz Zyme 7 live bacteria, and I've used it in every single one of my videos. Remember, we're going with 4 ounces. Make sure to stir this really good before you use it. There we go, 4 ounces. This is going in the tank, and it should look something like this. Alright guys, so that's it for this. I'm going to keep checking up on it. I'm going to keep updating you guys over the weekend. If everything is great, if everything's cycled, TDS is right, everything would be good, then we'll be ordering the shrimp. They will be delivered overnight, 1-day shipping, so this video shouldn't take but a few days. I do have a new video coming out right before this, setting up a 40-gallon planted shrimp tank, which some of you guys probably already saw. But I'm gonna keep you guys updated on this. We'll be back. Alright guys, so one last thing that I want to mention to you guys before I leave you guys for the weekend is that one of the major things that I'm also looking forward to is we need to make sure this active substrate does its job. And by that I mean it needs to drop the pH. In the part of Texas that I'm in, water comes out to it's right around 7. We need this to be around 6.4. So another thing that I'm going to do, of course, I'm going to add some almond leaves and I'm going to add some moss to this tank before the shrimp get here. What that'll do, it'll create a more natural environment. I know these are breeding tanks. Every single one of my setup is really set up for breeding. That's what these small tanks are for. But regardless, guys, we want to make it as natural as possible for them. And so for that reason, we need to get the pH down. pH, we need to make sure that we have no ammonia, the tank's fully cycled, we have some nitrates, and we want to keep the TDS right around 135. If I can do all those things, shrimp will be here in the next few days, and everything else should be good. So just wanted to point that out. pH needs to be around 6.2. I'm looking anywhere under 6.4, anywhere from 6.0 to 6.4 is what I'm looking for. So obviously if it gets in a little bit lower than that, slightly lower than that, it's perfectly fine. I think somewhere around 5.5 to 6.4 is fine. 5.6 to 6.4, that's a lot of numbers I just threw out there. But yeah, somewhere around there is fine. So that's another thing that I'm looking forward to. And I will be checking up on that and updating you guys. Hey guys, so we're back now. It's probably been about a week or so since I last set up the tank. And I've learned quite a few things now with my first Caridina setup. And I guess the most important thing would be that when adding the minerals back into the water, since we started with distilled water, RO water, we start with 0 TDS. I started adding the powder mineral. I think I started at 130. I guess once it sat down and it actually completely diluted and it just spread out around the tank, it actually crept up over the days up to about 145, 150. And I didn't want to go for 150. So I wanted to stay right around 130. So what I did was I did a major water change and then just kind of started the process again with the TDS starting right around 110. So over the days, whenever it crept back up, it was totally fine because at that point, you know, the tank's being cycled and it stayed right around 130, 135, and it hasn't moved since. So I'm really happy about that. But that taught me a valuable lesson to start with the lower TDS whenever re-adding minerals to the water, because things do change over days. So it's a good thing. You know, this is not like a Neo Caridina tank that I could just set up from one day to another and just add the shrimp in there. You definitely got to take your time with this. Set them up a minimum 2 weeks in advance, I'd say. So I'm going to show you guys some what's going on right now with the tank. One other thing is that I did get my new shrimp in the mail today, so I want to show you guys that. I'm really excited about it. So before I show you guys what's in that, I want to show you guys here. I'm going to show you guys some of the things that are going on in this tank. I'm going to show you guys the TDS now. If I can open this with one hand. And I'm going to go over some of the... We're sitting right around 137 right now, which I think I'm fine with that. I think that's a good starting point. I definitely don't want to start off at 150. I want to start off at 130, 135. You know, that way, you know, I've been watching a lot of Mark shrimp tanks, and you know, once we get to around 150, 155, that lets us know that, you know, it's time for a water change. Some of the parameters, guys, I want to talk. I just did a water test. We got little nitrates right around 5-ish, 10. We have 0 nitrites. GH is right around 5 right now. 0 KH though. And the pH, which was a big thing for me, guys, the pH is down extremely low. I'd say extremely low. It probably could be a lot lower, but it's around 6.2 to 6.0 right now. You know, so that's awesome. And of course, we got no ammonia in the tank. Everything's good to go. And now, this is what I want to show you guys. We currently have our little shrimp acclimating. We got 20 PRLs, Pure Red Line shrimp. And they've been drip acclimating for about an hour now. I'm gonna see if I can focus this. Sorry, guys. Okay, so they've been acclimating for about an hour now, but I want to give it another hour. I want to make sure that there's only one little shrimp right there, but he came out the bag like that. He's not doing all that great, but I'm gonna give him some time, see if he gets any better. But for the most part, every other one is doing great, and they also look really good. So that's what's going in this tank. And so I'll drip acclimate for a little bit longer, then I'll show you guys once they're in the setup. And hopefully at the end of the day, this is a successful setup, a successful first Caridina setup, which is what we're hoping for. So I'll be back to show you guys when they go in the tank. Guys, so all the shrimp have been drip acclimating for about 2 hours now. So it's definitely time for them to go in. I'm gonna try to get the best shot I can of them going in the tank. I've already caught them all. Okay guys, so it's now been about a week since I added the shrimp. As you guys can see, they're doing great. They're looking great. It's definitely been a great experience, and I'm definitely doing it again. This time we added the PRLs, Pure Red Lines. I'm following this little guy around because he just looks awesome. Guys, I'm definitely going to be doing more Caridina shrimp. It's been a great experience, and I do have room for 5 more tanks. And so you better believe that I'm going to be adding some more Caridina shrimp to the setup, to the shelves. Look at these guys. They look so great. Guys, I appreciate you guys watching. I hope some of you guys learned something. And if you have any questions for whatever reason, just make sure to comment down below. I'll get to it. Guys, I'm learning with you guys right now. I don't know everything about Caridina, but you better believe I am willing to learn. I'm learning from the best guys. I'm watching YouTube videos nonstop. I'm trying to keep and breed Caridina shrimp as well as Neo Caridina. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys are still watching, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. I'll see you guys soon.